Chairman Itong, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, when you allow virtual assets service providers to register, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who want to tap that business in Palau. So the question is, are you guys able and ready and prepared to tackle that? Because I'm sitting here and I'm having, because cryptocurrency, crypto exchanges is a huge, technical, talk about a lot of, I'm not the expert, but I'm talking about a lot of hardwares, a lot of softwares, a lot of information exchange left and right. And I mean, are you guys ready to tackle that?
I'm going to slide a little bit back and forth between my legal counsel hat for FIC and my director hat for FIU. Under the international money laundering standards, there's 3 ways to handle virtual asset service providers. There's outright banning, which is hard to enforce. There's licensure, and then there's registry. And it's only for the anti-money laundering portion of it. So making sure that virtual asset service providers meet the obligations of the anti-money laundering laws, right? So that's what they're looking at. Now, separately, FIC, there's the issue of licensing virtual asset service providers from a prudential perspective. And that's something that should happen, or there should be some sort of legislative law put in place to address something like that. So we have 2 different things going on. So we're trying to meet the like from the FIU side, we're trying to meet the requirements of these international obligations and also at least have a stopgap in place, right? So that we can make sure that we're at least trying to address these issues. On the FIC side, that's where they might want to focus a little bit more on the licensure of virtual asset service providers or banking institutions.
So let's say a person that decides, what's a big, what's a big exchange? I don't know, Binance.
Finance.
But let's say Binance come here and then they register. And so yeah, we'll follow your money laundering act and reporting requirements, and we have our rules and regs, and and I'm sure they have it. But then they would go to Bureau of Taxation. They get their business licenses. Are they? And without having FIC specifically regulating that, how is that going to work? I mean, to me, a perfect world, or I think it should be tandem, both of them. We either have to decide that we're going to ban it. So registration is, I'm not sure whether if we ban it, the registration, not sure whether registration is required because it's illegal, or we're going to license it, or are we going to, or I'm talking about FIC side. Because what you're talking about reporting, and I'm talking about, whether this is, I know you understood what my question is. And so how do we, it seems that there's huge gray area between these two. And I don't think that's good as a nation to have this huge gray area.
I certainly understand your point, and we share the concerns there. So I think one of the issues that we're facing is that the regulation of banks or financial institutions on FIC side is very narrowly tailored to banks, securities dealers, and securities brokers. So virtual asset service providers don't factor in there at all. They can just operate. So it makes it difficult. So it definitely needs to be addressed. On the FIU side, with these regulations, we create a space where at least the anti-money laundering stuff can be addressed. And we can do our job with that at the very, very minimum. But yes, I think on FIC side, that's something that would need to be addressed with the board, and is something that is being discussed actively within FIC at this time with the new executive commissioner as well. I don't know if that answers your question, but it's certainly something that we're concerned about too.
Another reason for implementing this is, as you've asked there earlier, it's the absence of the law that sort of dictates it. So we're reacting because there are registered entities now with the Bureau of Revenue and Taxation. So we have to figure out a way to fill that gap right now.
And we received actually upgrades in 2023 for some of the passage of the FIU regulations. And one of the things we received a downgrade was recommendation 15, which is new technologies. We tried to say, because that's how I read it, that our financial institution provision allowed for VASPs. And APG said, no, only halfway. So that's why we're passing these regulations also, because we want a whole way cover VASPs. So on the FIU side, we are just trying to do the best we can.